Okay, here we go. Day 2. Welcome to day 2 of Advent of Code. I didn't get a chance to set up any of the stuff from yesterday. That'll probably be a couple days from now, but I don't think it'll trip us up today at all. Let's go to day 2 and refresh this. And create solution RB and read the problem. Day 2, dive. Now you need to figure out how to pilot this thing. It seems like the submarine can take a series of commands like forward 1, down 2, or up 3. Forward X increases the horizontal position by X units. Down X increases the depth by X units. Up X decreases the depth by X units. Note that since you're on a submarine, up and down affect your depth, and so they have the opposite result of what you expect. Got it. The submarine seems to already have a planned course, your puzzle input. You should probably figure out where it's going. For example, forward 5, down 5, forward 8, up 3, down 8, forward 2. Your horizontal position and depth both start at 0. The steps above would then modify them as follows. Forward 5 adds 5 to your horizontal position, total of 5. Down adds 5 to your depth, resulting in a value of 5, etc., etc., etc. It seems fairly straightforward. Nothing really jumps out as surprising here, but after following these instructions, you would have a horizontal position of 15 and a depth of 10. Multiplying these together produces 150. Calculate the horizontal position and depth you would have after following the planned course. What do you get if you multiply your final horizontal position by your final depth? Okay, so I might actually create an object here. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and close yesterday's solution. Get the puzzle input. And the puzzle input is lines of commands. Looks right. And let's go back to the problem. Okay, so the test we're going to have here, we've got pretty much one test for this problem. So we've got, I want to put submarine depth, or let's say submarine position, submarine dot horizontal position, and let's do this. So we're going to pull out the horizontal position, or test submarine dot horizontal position, and depth equals test submarine dot depth, and then the and depth, and we wanted to have expected let's create a new line, horizontal, actual, and expected is 15. I should probably do this. Instead of trying to do the new lines in line, split it out, it'll be easier to work with. Actual expected 10 and solution actual horizontal position times depth and expected 150. Okay, so let's do test submarine equals submarine.new, and let's do test commands is equal to a list of commands. What did they call it? Planned course. Let's do a little bit of processing before we send it to the submarine. I can go either way, but it might make the implementation of submarine there's a little less junk to do there, because it's not much that we have to do at the moment. It's really just splitting on a new line, and then we'll have submarine dot, let's say course dot follow course. Okay, so our assumption here is we've got a submarine class. Submarine is going to have a method follow course, which is going to take a list of commands and values, and then we're going to pull out the horizontal position, the depth, and the values. Okay, so we can go up here, split it up a little bit. So class submarine, nothing really to initialize except for we've got a horizontal position of 0, we've got a depth 0, and we're calling those, so we're calling those below, so we might as well just make them accessible. Horizontal position depth, and we've got a method follow course, which takes a course, and we've got a bunch of methods here. Not a huge encapsulation fan, whatever. I don't know if we need them now, but we might be able to do something fun here. Def forward amount, def down amount, and def up amount. And what those methods do is at horizontal position equals at horizontal position plus amount. And so the stuff they call out here is that down is actually going to increase. So depth equals depth plus amount, and then depth equals depth minus amount. And so here we've got as course, so we do course, well, it's not a course, it's more commands. It's gonna read weird. Okay, so if we do course.each do command, and for each command we've got a method and an amount equals command.split on space. And then what we can do is I think we can do self.call method.toSim amount.toI, and I think that should actually be, it should actually work. It's probably a simpler way to do it, but that's the way that came to my mind. Let's see. Okay, so let's run it and see what happens. So what's happening here is we're changing forward, down, or up to a method, or to a symbol, calling that symbol on the class, and then sending it the parameter amount. I'm pretty sure that works. Maybe solution.rb. No, it does not. Undefined method call for submarine. Okay, so maybe it's just, or it's self.send. Yeah, that's what I did wrong. Okay, yep, those are all right. And so now we can run this for real. So there's no expected here. And we've got is solution submarine new. We've got course equals file dot open dot slash input dot read dot split on new line, and then what's next? Split on new line there. Solution submarine dot follow course, and then we pull out the two values and then multiply them. Yep. Okay. Horizontal position test submarine dot depth equals test, or no, not test, solution submarine dot depth, and then we do just break it up a little bit and then run it again. Wow, so horizontal is 2185. That seems reasonable. Let's see what happens. It's the right answer. Okay, so now on to part 2. Based on your calculations, the planned course doesn't seem to make any sense. You find the submarine manual and discover that the process is actually slightly more complicated. In addition to horizontal position and depth, you'll also need to track a third value, aim, which also starts at 0. The commands also mean something entirely different than you thought. Down X increases your aim by X units. Up X increases your aim by X units. Forward X does two things. It increases your horizontal position by X units, and it increases your depth by your aim multiplied by X. Okay, that's going to be, it's just changing those three methods a little bit. Again, note that since you're on a submarine, down and up do the opposite of what you might expect. Down means aiming in the position. Down means aiming in the positive direction. Okay. Now, the above example does something different. Forward 5 adds 5 to your horizontal position, a total of 5 because your aim is 0. Your depth does not change. Down 5 adds 5 to your aim, resulting in a value of 5. Okay. So it's really just changing these three methods and giving us something a little different. Using this new interpretation of the commands, calculate the horizontal position and depth you would have after following the planned course. What do you get if you multiply your final horizontal position by your final depth? Okay, so feel like it might be a little cleaner to also create a solution part 2 than try to build out these tests again from scratch, or try to modify that but we can take a lot of these, and so we're also still just finding horizontal position and depth, so really it's a lot of the same stuff. Maybe it would have been easy to copy over, but actually I guess I can copy over all of this. I just need to change some stuff. Well, maybe it wouldn't have been that hard to change, but now I'll have a history of these solutions in Git, so it's good to have a copy since I didn't commit in between problems. Anywho, so now we've got horizontal. We expect it to be still 15, but we expect the depth to be 60. We want this to be 900, and then we don't know what this next part's going to be. Let's go ahead and run that and make sure we're wrong, which we should be. Yeah. Actual 150 expected. Okay. So we can close the old one. And now what we do, we start out with also an aim, which is 0. And down increases your aim by X units. So aim by amount, yep. Up, aim. So decreases your aim by X units, right? Forward does two things. It increases your horizontal position by X units, yep. And it increases your depth by your aim at depth equals depth. Increases your depth by your aim multiplied by X. Okay, so depth plus aim times amount. Okay. So that's, I think I mentioned in the last one, that's something that happens in Advent of Code, which is really cool, is if you model things out in the first part, the second part becomes really easy. And I think it shows that you didn't really need to change much else except for the 3 things that changed in part 2. And really, besides changing the expectations in the output, it was about 4 lines of changes to really, well, you know, I should knock on wood here, but let's see if that actually solves it. Expected 60. Okay. Using this new interpretation of the commands, calculate the horizontal position and depth you would have after following the planned course. What do you get if you multiply your final? Okay, so that number is a little bit bigger, but the test is right. So unless there's a trick here, I would imagine that's right. Let's see. Cool. Cool. Finished day 2. Yeah, so like I was saying before I got nervous, tempting fate, the cool thing about modeling out the submarine initially was that I was able to just change the forward, down, and up methods, and pretty much everything else stayed the same, which I've talked about to whoever would listen, that these problems in Advent of Code are really close to what it's like doing actual software engineering work, where, you know, a new feature comes in, requirements change or whatever, and you really get a chance to see what putting the time into model up front actually gets you. But that's the lesson for today. I will be back around this time, maybe a little bit later, a little bit earlier tomorrow to do part 3, and maybe have a couple more updates to the setup to make this a little cleaner. Gonna start playing with some scene changes and puppet updates. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.